MVC and a normal JSP servlet also. Lot of configuration is involved, XML configuration. So everything is going to be eliminated here. Okay. Share your screen, Nikhil.
Yeah, Vijay, but before we start the class, there is this diagram I got about Spring Boot, right?
Okay.
Is it so I'm having some difficulty understanding the diagram. Can you explain that?
Yeah, show me.
Okay. Okay. Right. Can you see this?
That's loading. Okay. Little bit expand. Okay. So what's your question in this?
Uh, so, uh, uh, so what happens here is we just type Spring Boot application and annotation, and with that we don't have to type any other annotations. Is that right?
Sorry, come again.
We just type Spring Boot applications, and then we don't have to type any of the below annotations. We don't have to type configuration service component.
No, 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 no. There is a situation like these annotations also we are going to use. If your question is related to the annotation, yes, we will be using this annotation based on your requirement. For example, we have already used the Spring Boot application annotation, which is available in your Spring Boot main class, right?
Yes.
And auto wired annotation, we have used request mapping annotation, we have used component at the rate component. I think I have explained you like there will be a if you are you are having multiple packages, you are trying to access one package from a different package. If you face any error in the console, like this file is not class not found exception and all, we will be doing component scan. I think in XML we configured the component stuff in the previous examples, but instead of XML, you can use the annotation in the classes also. See, with respect to transaction management, I think we have talked. There are two types is there, programmative and declarative. It is applicable for all the stuffs. What do you mean by programmatic and declarative means? Declarative means in XML you will be configuring stuffs. Whatever
Okay.
you are configuring in XML, definitely instead of that XML configuration, you can configure in the class level also. Class level means Java flow wise it will execute the annotations. So instead of XML configuration, there is always an annotation also which you can configure a class. If you are configuring your class using annotation, you can skip that in your XML configuration. So here you can see the bean annotation, component annotation and all. We already have configured in XML. Instead of that, you can play with your classes also. And this guy service, actually we are going to see in the next example. When you are doing Spring Boot data JPA, we will be creating certain classes for your database. In the previous examples, we simply called Dove service class data access object. You simply used to create a variable for your previous bean class, and you used to call that class as service class. But in the Spring Boot data JPA, we will be creating some interface and classes, and for that particular class, you need to provide this annotation, which is mandatory. You need to tell service, because I already told you the Spring Boot data JPA is a very advanced level of database communication. It since you are going to do in Spring, of course, we are not going to depend on XML. Your Hibernate and Spring Hibernate is you need mapping.xml. But in Spring Boot, we are not at all going to have mapping.xml. When we are learning Hibernate in Spring, I told you we can eliminate hibernate.cfg.xml, because you can configure the same in spring.xml, but it doesn't matter whether you are having Hibernate or not, because also you are doing the same configuration in XML only. And also I told you, apart from the configuration change, the mapping.xml is going to be same. How many tables you are having, that many, how many bean class you are having, that many mapping.xml we need to create, even you are working in Spring. But in Spring Boot, we are totally eliminating all the mapping.xmls also. Also, you are not at all going to configure anything in spring.xml or config.xml also. Only pom.xml only we will be having. So how you are going to configure your database using the service class only. Couple of annotation is very important. Entity and service for setting up your database connection. So we will be using all these annotations.
Okay.
Right? Any question?
Okay. Uh, so, uh,
This is, I think they just mentioned the flow when HTTP request happen, how all these stuffs will get work. That flow chart they have designed here, right?
okay. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead with your Spring Boot TS. Okay, we can create a new Spring Starter project. Okay, give name as Spring Boot MVC. And package is fine. com.intuos.main. Okay, click next and finish. Here, hold on. So you already used the Spring Web. Yeah, select the Spring Web. Since we are working on MVC, you can select Spring Web. And with respect to design, the JSP or HTML, in JSP servlet, you have used directly the HTML5 coding. In Spring MVC, I believe you remember we have configured using form colon label, form colon input. What is the first form before colon is a prefix which you are taking from Spring support. It's not a normal HTML tags. The HTML tags are configured based on Spring support. Here in Spring Boot, we are having engines, predefined engines. A couple of engines will be there to quickly design your pages, and it reduces even lot of work compared to Spring MVC. So one of the engine we are going to see is time life. So can you type THY time life is there? Yeah, select that. Okay. Now MVC is needed. 1 minute. Spring verb time life is enough. Okay, click next and go there. Finish. Yeah, finish. You can close all the stuffs at the center. Tried converting integer.
yes. Yes. By reversing the string, converting to string and
Mhm.
reversing.
Yeah. But as we discussed, concatenation and conversion is different actually.
Hmm. But it
Okay.
works. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it will work. Uh, Spring MVC, yeah, Spring Boot MVC expanded. Second one, second project.
Sorry.
Minimize the. Okay. So pom.xml will be having whatever the starters you have selected already. Okay. So let's go ahead and design the page for time leaf. Where exactly you need to create the web pages here. So can you expand source main resources? So application properties we already know. Instead of the configuration XML, we will be configuring all the stuffs in application properties. In this project, we are not going to configure anything. Template, that is a folder we will be creating the pages. And static is for you to create CSS or JavaScript files and all you can put inside static folder. So right click on template, create couple of HTML pages, login.html and welcome.html. Let me give you the code in the chat. Yeah, copy paste it. Create one more file, welcome.html. I think, okay, copy paste this. Okay, save it. Go back to login.html. So here at line number 2 is where we are getting the support of these tags, timeleaf.org, right? So now you can see at line number 15 how you are binding your bean class to this page is th colon field. Th colon means the th is a time life, right? Where you are getting assigned at line number 2. So th colon field, I mean th dot field or colon, right? The
Yes.
text is very light. Yeah. Th colon field equals username and password is from your bean class. And go and check welcome.html just to display the value. LB is the reference variable we are going to give for your bean class. So using lb.username, lb.password. So one thing you need to understand here in Spring Boot, I think it's same for Spring also. When you are refer a variable for a value, go to login.html. Yeah, here at line number 15 and 20, you are going to collect the data and you are going to assign to a particular variable. So for assigning or referring a variable, you should give asterisk symbol and curly bracelet. But if the variable is already holding the value, you are just going to display it, then you should use dollar symbol curly bracelet. In welcome.html, you can see we will be using dollar symbol. So dollar symbol is to display the value from the retrieve information. Asterisk is to assign or refer to a variable. Okay, remember this all the time. Okay, now package expand source main Java. So we are here under main. We are not going to modify Spring Boot application. Actually, in the previous examples, we directly modified it, which is not at all a good practice. Just for quick learning we have done that, but here we are going to create all the controller class and bean class separate package. I think we already had a practice of creating these packages in your what is it, AOP, aspect oriented programming. Same thing here. So you need to right click on source main Java or right click on com.ntos.main. Yeah, new package. All the packages should be sub packages of com.ntos main. So put a dot com.ntos.main, put a dot and type controller, finish. Okay, now create one more package. Right click on same main sub package. Yeah, main. And this can be for your bean. We can create model main.model. Okay, finish. Now first complete your model. Right click on model, create a bean class. Class name can be login bean, yeah. So you're going to have private string username, private string password, and getter and setter methods. Okay. Now under controller, you can have login controller. finish. So you need to tell this is not a normal class, this is a controller class. Add controller annotation. With respect to the backend logic, I mean with respect to the controller scripts, whatever you have already done in Spring is going to be same. Nothing different here also. Backend logic writing is same only. Only the front end we are eliminating lot of codes, kind of XML and all. So as usual, we need to have a couple of methods. One is to kick off the project, and another one is for submit button. So kick off the project. Public string login form. Method name can be login form. Pass one parameter model space m parameter. Capital M model space m. Inside the method, return login. Return space double quotes your HTML file name, double quotes login. And before that return statement, we need to add the attribute, means you are binding your bean class to this page, right? So m.add attribute of before the return statement after line number 8. Import the package for model first. Okay. M.add attribute of two parameters you need to pass. This is like a request.set attribute, get attribute in JSP. First is going to act like a variable, but you need to give us a string name only. So double quotes LB. This is the LB you are using in that pages. LB. And second parameter is going to be constructor of your bean class. So space, new space, login bean. Login bean. Okay. And with semicolon. And create one more method for submit button. Public string login submit. As usual, same of Spring. Here two parameters you need to pass. First parameter is your reference variable of bean class. Login bean LB. Login bean LB, comma model M. And inside the method, return welcome. Return double quotes welcome. Welcome. So before the return statement, here you need to add the attribute m.add attribute of same thing, double quotes LB, comma, we are already passing LB, that LB, comma, without double quotes LB. Why we are doing m.add attribute? Can you guess, anyone? See, you are traveling to a page at line number 13. When you are going to log in, before going there, you are taking your bean information for that particular page. No, new login bean is not required. Already you are passing a reference variable LB. So that LB is fine. No. Double quotes LB, comma, without double quotes LB. At line number 16, parameter you are passing on LB, right? Without double quotes. Yeah, correct. Okay, that LB. Okay. So before going to that page, even welcome page also, what you are doing? You are displaying the lb.username, lb.password. So you need to carry those credentials, those values before you are going to that particular page. So that's why we are doing add attribute. Now complete with your annotation. For the first method, request mapping, same thing. Request mapping, open and close parenthesis, open and close curly bracelet. Why we need curly bracelet? Because you are going to pass couple of no, outside the double quotes, inside the curly bracelets only you need to give double quotes, because you are passing array. So first array, yeah, slash, and second array slash login. No, after the double quotes, yeah, comma, double quotes, slash login. Good. Now the annotation for the second method, request mapping, Here we are not going to have array. Just you need to pass couple of parameters. First parameter without double quotes. Value equals double quotes slash value equals double quotes slash any alias name like process login slash process login process login. Okay, and comma second is going to be your method setting. Method equals no double quotes. Method equals request method dot post capital or capital M. This method put a dot post will come. Yeah. Okay. And finally at line number 20, before your login bean class name, you need to add the model attribute annotation at the rate model attribute. M and A is caps. Okay, that's it. Save it. No, you deleted the login bean class name. Model after model attribute. Yeah. Okay, save it. That's it. Everything is completed here. Can you go to login.html? So have a look on line number 9. Form action. You are not going to use the normal action. That's why we just give as a hash symbol in double quotes. We are going to use th colon action only, time leaf action. And the syntax is double quotes at the rate curly bracelet. Inside the curly bracelet, you need to give the slash process login. I think your process login L is lowercase in login controller. Then you need to change here also. Can you do it? Process login L small or caps in your login controller. Either you can change here small or you can change caps there. Go to login controller.java.
This one.
Okay, fine. So th colon object at line number 9. After th colon action, you are having th colon object. As I told you, what you are using? You are using dollar symbol. Dollar symbol means you are assigning the value which is already available. So your bean information LB is assigning here. All those variables you can retrieve. Based on that only you are using th colon field username, th colon field password. Okay. Think we completed all the setup. That's it. Very quick and easy setup for your MVC, because in Spring MVC we played with. Do you guys remember? We had login servlet.xml and all, right? Yeah, we won't forget that because it created issues for Nikhil due to the spelling mistake. So in that login servlet.xml, we configured the prefix and suffix of your JSP folder, the file extension and all you need to mention. Then only in login controller you no need to mention the file name. But here have a look. In login controller again we are not giving either .html or .jsp, but also we are not at all going to have any XML to define the prefix and suffix and also your pages location folder and all. Nothing is needed. Everything will automatically pick up and run. Okay, run and check it. Right click, run as Spring Starter. Spring Boot app. Yeah, Spring Boot app. Okay. So open your browser, just hit 8080. I mean localhost colon, yeah, 80. Okay, hit it. There you go. Right? Very quick development, right? Compared to all the previous MVC stuffs. Okay, type username and password. Okay. Go to login also will work. Yeah. I think that's not a href or thref. Go ahead. I mean, go to your code. Go to your code. Yeah. Go to welcome.html. Okay, ahref only. Line number 22. So we are having thref also. So depend upon the scenario, you can use that also. This is a direct HTML type only. Okay. So this is how you will be developing your MVC. I mean, along with that, yes, you can build your database very quickly, like mentioning all the properties and connection properties, everything in application properties. In JDBC, in the coding, we will be loading the driver. So based on flow, when you are starting the project, it will execute and it will try to create a connection. In hibernate.cfg.xml, we will be mentioning the configuration. In the coding, in the Java coding, we will be loading that file. So when you are running the project, the file will get load, which means whatever the information you provided in the XML, it will execute. But here in Spring Boot, nothing. If you configure anything application properties, that's it. When you're running the project, whatever the configuration you performed in application properties first will execute. You no need to write any coding and all in anywhere to load or create a connection and all. That's what we are going to see in the upcoming thing. Fine. If no questions on here, we will move on to the final stuff in Spring Boot like JPA. Any questions here? Anyone?
No, Vijay.
Okay. Stop the server. And also we need a prop table like ID, username, password we can use, but still the ID should be same thing. We are already having a table, right,
Yes,
Nikhil?
yes, yes,
ID with auto increment and primary key.
yes.
Okay, fine. Go ahead and create a Spring Starter project. This is very important one. Listen very carefully. Setting up data JPA. New Spring Starter. Okay. Name can be Spring Boot Data JPA. Spring Boot Data JPA. JPA. Okay. Next. Next. Okay. Here, just select whatever I am telling. First one is, of course, web you need to select. After web, type data JPA. Data JPA is there. Yeah, Spring Data JPA selected. And after that, type JDBC. JDBC. Spring. Yeah, the JDBC API. Okay. JDBC API. And then web is already selected. Instead of MySQL connector, you need to select PostgreSQL. Last one. It is already listing. Last one. Okay. And then H2. Type H2. H2 database is there. H2 database. It is coming. Yes. And that's it, I guess. Yeah, that's it. Go next. So these all are the requirements for your Spring Boot Data JPA. Okay, finish. Okay, configuring. Done. Okay, expand it. Expand it. Okay, expand the source main Java. Okay, so here everything is going to be your database connection, your database tables, everything is going to be Beans and Java coding only. With annotation we are going to configure, because we are completely almost 99% we are eliminating the XML steps. And another beauty here is using the service annotation and all we have talked before, the entity annotation, service annotation and all. If you guys someone have idea about AWS deployment, Amazon Web Service deployment and all, even in your Postgre or even in your MySQL itself, you no need to have a database and table in your database. Based on the information you are configuring in your project, if you set auto in one place, everything will be created when you are running this project itself. Till now, we are creating the table and you are checking it, inserting, updating, deleting and all. But here, if the table is not there, it will create the table. If the database is not there, it will create the database. So whatever the information you are configuring in Java Beans and coding itself, it will create all the steps automatically. That's the beauty. Very easy to deploy over AWS and all. I just we were developing on Training Hub application for Rentours, and I just once deployed in Elastic Beanstalk in AWS. Have you anyone played with AWS before?
I worked with AWS project.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think it's Elastic Beanstalk only. You can directly deploy the project. So nothing. Spring Boot is very simple because as we already discussed, it is going to be a jar file, right? So what I have done is export this project as a jar file, deploy the jar file over the AWS EBS. That's it. It will
Oh,
create its own database. It will create all the tables, and just a simple click of jar file, it will generate one unique web-based address. Your project will ready to work. Right.
but
So it's
but
pretty.
it uses the same database, or like will it take from
Whatever the
Amazon?
database,
Okay.
you are configuring in application resources. Right now, you have selected the dependency as
S3.
PostgreSQL, right? So it will have a PostgreSQL table database.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
got it.
So
Yeah.
it's what you were mentioned in your project, that only it will be picking up automatically.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Now there is a little bit steps is there to create the steps with in Spring Boot Data JPA. Like for all the tables in your database, we need to have some 3 to 4 separate items in interface and classes. For all the tables, if you're having 10 tables, then you need to create 40 steps like that. It's mandatory. That is the procedure. So what all are the steps? Now you are going to create all sub packages. Click on com.n2s.main. Create first model package. Okay. After model, another one is repository. com.n2s.main.repository. After repository, there is going to be a services com.n2s.main.services.
Just a second, Vijay. It should be inside com.ntws.main, is it?
Yeah, all the packages, right click on com.n2s.main so that you can easily, yeah, just put down. Yeah, model repository, right? No, you made a copy, it seems. Model repository services, and finally DAO class, DAO, com.n2s.main DAO. And also created
So model and repository. What else?
model repository services and DAO, DAO, com.n2s.main DAO. Yeah, finish. Okay, first open your application resources. Let's configure the database information. I will give you the code, then you can change based on your PostgreSQL. Okay, copy paste.
This is in properties.
Yes, application resource, application properties. Application resources is a term we used to have in struts. Anyone heard about struts? It's a very old framework. Okay. Now change based on your thing. Maybe you can open your hibernate.cfg.xml and copy paste the correct stuff here.
Okay.
Open your XML, cfg.xml. Yeah, under src. Yeah. Okay.
Connection.url goes to
Yeah,
here,
first
right?
one, line number 6. And username, password. Okay, and dialect, line number 21. Copy line number 10, content. Content, only content. Okay, line number 21. So these things 9, 10, 11, 12 and all I just configured for deploying in AWS. You can delete it if you want, or you can, the RDS is whatever the database you are selecting, it will apply the database to the particular stuff. Okay. Save it. So this is what first will execute. When you're running this project, your connection is proper. Even you can run and check now. Run on Spring Boot up now. Let's see, your database is connecting. Are you sure that particular table is available in N2S? I mean, N2S database is there?
Yes, N2S database is there. We used that last time.
Okay. Yeah. Can you maximize the console? See there. Connection information also will be there. Using dialect, org, hibernate, everything. So if there is any issue with the connection, it will throw you the error. So now your database is connected. Okay. Fine. Minimize it. Now let's go and play it. First go to your model, create a bean. I click on model, bean. Last name can be user, finish. User is enough, because based on that user only you are going to create user repository, user service, like the name formation. Otherwise you need to give like user bean repository, it's going to be a big name. Yeah. User is enough. Finish. Okay. Now create private int id, right? Private int id, right?
Age.
ID,
Oh,
username,
ID. Okay.
password.
ID. Okay. Oh,
Private string username,
okay.
private string password.
Okay.
And string password. Make int as long the ID. That is the syntax or rule for your data JPA. In the table, I mean, from your database side, it can be int, no issues. But here we need to have long. So create getter and setters. Okay, generate. Okay, give some space between 7 after line number 7. Now complete the annotations for your ID, which we have already done in your Hibernate. So ID for only the first parameter. For line number 5, first annotation is @ID, @ID, capital I, small d. And second annotation, our generated value, right? So generated value, open and close parenthesis, no double quotes, just type strategy, small letter only. Strategy equals generation type dot identity. We already done all these things in your Hibernate. Generation type dot identity. Yeah, identity. And another one, column, column annotation. Open and close parenthesis, name equals, in double quotes, you need to give the exact name of your table name. So ID is going to be.
Okay.
ID, yeah.
ID should be the same as a column name, is it?
Yes.
So what is there in the table, right?
Yeah, what you are having in the table. Which table you are using now? Login table, right? Okay.
Do we
Login
have
table are we using? Can you check what all are the fields available in login? And also, is it possible, can you make sure the ID here is, no, I don't think it is auto increment and primary key. You can see the duplicate values, 6655 and all. Which table we are having the proper ID configuration?
actually we use
Can
this one
you,
only for everything, but we use this. We tried we kept adding
is it
values through
possible to
JDBC.
modify this table, or can we delete and create a new table here?
We can create a new table.
I want you to change your ID into primary key and auto increment.
Okay, change the
Hold
properties.
on, we can easily do it. Just create a new table under your in the same database.
Hmm.
New table. Table name is user. Actually, whatever the table you are using, that name should also same. Then only it will be proper. We are creating a user class, so the table name should be user. So create table user. Open and close parenthesis. I think for user list table, you created something different for your ID. Can you open the user list and check the query? Is it possible? Because in PostgreSQL, it is different, right? We won't use auto increment, I guess. Is it possible to see the query for that particular table?
Constraints.
SQL, last one. Go to the last one, SQL tab. No, there only, yeah. Nothing is there. Somewhere you took, right?
Just gave us a primary key, maybe.
Yeah, that's what, how you will do in the coding. Last time when we were creating this table, somewhere you picked up, either via in the JDBC code or here only.
Oh, right. To make this a primary key, right? Primary key with auto
Yeah, I
increment.
want, primary key and auto increment. Yeah, it's there. Line number 28. Serial primary key. So ID space serial primary key. Right. And next one, is it same like username varchar, right? Yeah. Username varchar, password varchar. Password varchar. Yeah. So, okay. Now execute it. Error. Create table user values of, right? No.
Table.
This user is a inbuilt keyword for you, Postgre.
Must be. So
Okay, can
user.
you change into login? Login also we are already having. Can just update as users, add yes, or make it as, yeah, okay, users. Yeah, execute it. Okay, fine. Now go back to your code. Change your user into users. Class name is. You can directly type also line number 8. Yeah, type and add it. Yeah, there's a cursor answer. Okay, so yeah, column name ID, update ID at line number 12. Okay, give some enter after line number 13. Okay, so this is what we have done in Hibernate also, but here we are going to do one more thing, which is very important, because you are not going to have any mapping.xml and all, which means in Hibernate you are creating something, anything you can create, but you need to map manually to the table. So let's say I'm having a login table in database. For Hibernate you are creating like a dummy table, I mean user bean class name is dummy, but still in mapping.xml you can map class name is dummy, table name equals login. But here no, everything should be same because it is going to directly create or update those tables. So for your class users, you need to add one annotation called entity @entity. This is the annotation which take care for creating or updating the exact table. After line number 7, you can have the annotation. After line number 7, you can have the annotation entity, capital E, entity. Okay. And next, under your work is over here. Now right click on your repository. We are going to create a JPA repository. So right click and create an interface. New interface. Interface name is going to be users repository. Users repository. Okay, now public interface users repository extends JPA repository. This is the syntax. Extends JPA repository. And the first item is going to be your bean class users, comma long. Users, comma long ID. This is why we created those as long ID. Long wrapper class. Capital L. Okay. Import the package for users. Okay. And here we need to add repository annotation for your interface. After line number 6, add annotation as repository. Yes. And in this interface, we are not at all going to have anything inside that. In Core Java itself, we discussed what do you mean by marker interface. I think I told you guys to refer and talk over in the session. What do you mean by marker interface? Can anyone tell? What do you mean by marker interface in Java? Generally, why we will create an interface to have abstract methods. But we are telling that here you are not at all going to have any methods. Then why you need to create the interface? The explanation for your marker interface is interface with no methods is called marker interface. Or you can tell in the other direction like marker interface will not have any abstract methods or any normal methods. It's a empty interface. Why we need to do that? Even seeing this, can you guys guess any points? Anyone? Ganesh, Nikhil?
Serialization or something?
No. If an interface is having 5 methods, what I need to do when I'm adding that interface in my class? If an interface is having 5 abstract methods, what we need to do when you are adding the interface to your class?
Implement all 5.
We need to add all unimplemented methods. Even though I need only 2 methods out of it, I need to add all the 5 methods. That is a condition, right? If you're having addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, I'm going to write logic for only addition. I'm going to use it, but still I need to implement the rest of the 3 dummy methods also. That is a rule of an interface adding to a class. Have a look here. When I'm adding a class as their example implements user repository. Nothing is there to add an implementer because it is empty. But since the example class implements user repository, the same example class can use all the methods available under JPA repository without implementing or overriding any logic to it. Because user repository is indirectly attaching to JPA repository, which means user repository can access all the methods in JPA repository. So whoever is implementing user repository can also use JPA repository methods. That is the benefit of having a marker interface. Do you understand, both of you? Are you guys getting my point?
Okay.
So this is the syntax and example for your marker interface also. The inbuilt JPA repository, all the functionalities we are taking like this one. So I am going to stop from here for today. Let's continue tomorrow for this because still we need to build a lot of stuffs. So have a look once again on all the stuffs and let me know if you're having any questions.
Yeah, I just have one question.
Mm-hmm.
So if interface A has a lot of methods, right, and interface B extends interface A, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
interface A does not, you don't have to type any of those abstract methods in interface B, right?
No. Why you need to type interface in another interface? Only class is going to add unimplemented methods. Interface will not add unimplemented methods, right?
Yeah, but you said that we do this because we don't want to
Class
put all
only,
the,
for
yeah,
class purpose only.
yeah.
Now my class is going to you are going to create one more class. That class is going to implements user repository, but it will not at all force you to add the unimplemented methods because the direct user repository don't have any methods. But still, whatever the indirect methods is available in JPA repository, we can access without adding those unimplemented methods.
Got it. So the class that implements this can access methods
Exactly.
inside this, right?
Means what I will do is in a final class I will create a reference variable for user repository. For example, user repository space UR. UR is my reference variable. After that, when I am putting UR dot, I will be accessing so many methods. Where that method is coming, those methods are not declared or defined in this user repository, but still how you are getting it, because you are getting from the inbuilt JPA repository.
Okay, so does this also apply to every other case also where one
Yeah,
interface extends? Okay,
yeah.
okay. So if a
Purely code
class
Java.
right, so that's why I want to know if a class implements this, not user report, just
Mm-hmm.
interface B, right? A has all the
Mm-hmm.
methods, but class implements B. So the class does
Exactly.
not have to implement all the methods of A, but that class can also, but it can implement
Exactly.
any methods. Okay, I didn't know
Exactly.
this. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions, Dharanish? Have you started using STS in your end in macOS?
Yeah, I did it. I started, I mean, working on that as well.
Okay, good.
Installed Spring Tool suits and I installed a project. I mean, I just copy pasted from Nikhil. So yeah,
Okay, good.
and project.
Yeah, I'm also tomorrow. If we complete the Spring Boot, I'm planning to have a couple of sessions in Angular JS as well. We can see what are the steps to install and develop a project, and another session to just create and look at simple project. So what Raj expectation is, it is not like a advanced or experienced expectation for Angular JS. At least they should know the basics of Angular JS. So that is the expectation we are going to have. Maybe, yeah, as I told you, now only I'm just preparing the stuffs for you guys. So I can't do full fledged for your batch now. So at least I can do some touch base in basic levels. But hopefully for the next batch members and all, Angular JS is going to be some 5 or 6 sessions will be there for next batch onwards. Let's see.
Vijay, and I thought of asking one more thing. So I've attended an interview. Like I just got a few questions, and they were asking one particular question, like what was the most like how any good troubleshooting thing you had faced till now, like a question like that in
Ah,
interviews.
that
Like, do you
that
have a
is the
scenario, like only
see.
one or
Yeah,
two
means.
scenarios?
But this question I already asked you guys to prepare. Do you remember in the interview? The
Right.
you were getting errors or some scenarios in the console, right? So
Correct.
that is a good learning. Okay, you need to prepare like when you are getting that error and what all are the steps you have taken to troubleshoot the issue. That matters. But for troubleshooting, it should make sense. Like, okay, even yesterday we struggled to troubleshoot one of the issues for Nikhil. The servlet file was not configured properly, right?
Correct.
But we cannot tell like I gave the spelling mistake I gave. No, we cannot tell that as a reason.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that is a good thing. Like you can tell. I just I created a Spring MVC, but I went into an issue called the servlet file is not found like that. Even though I having a proper servlet.xml, it is throwing up the error. Then I tried what is the issue went with. Then I found that for creating the servlet.xml, there is a architecture is there. Means the in the left hand side right now, whatever you are seeing is architecture. Under sources on resources only, you need to create pages. Under source
Correct.
main only, you need to create the Java files, right? So I
Correct.
found that the issue is I missed the architecture for servlet.xml. So then I
Okay.
recreated it. Then they may ask, then where exactly you recreated it? Like that they may ask. Means you need to. This is a game. You know that where you need to create the product server.xml, but don't tell that answer also. You just give a chance to ask a question. He will ask,
Okay.
okay, you said that you found it and you resolved it, where you created the server.xml. Then you need to tell under web content or under web INF, wherever it is properly configured, I created it. So you are trying to get one more question and you are trying to give one more answer correctly, right? So
Yeah.
like this you need to play a game. If I'm asking you
Okay.
about a question like hey, what is the usage of this keyword in constructor, means you don't overact it. Overacting means this will be for invoking the constructor in the same class. Then super will be for subclass and superclass. Don't tell that. Just give straight answer for whatever the question it need. Okay. So if
Okay.
you tell the answer correctly for this, If he agrees, he may skip and go, or if you are trying to struggle a little bit, then he will come again for a question like, then what is the use of super keyword, like that. So you know the
Yeah.
answer, you also can play with him like in this way,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Means
Yeah.
if I am recruiting you for a Spring Boot project, I'm started shooting 2 or 3 questions. If you are answering correctly, it will engage me. It will make me more interested to shoot little more questions, not just to check you, just to means I'm more interested to hear words from your mouth in that way also, right? So you need to
Got
pick
it.
that
Yes.
game. You need to prepare to pick that game. If Dharnesh is very good in Spring Boot to data JPA, then start a game without knowing the opposite, without the opposite person knows. Game means give the direct answer with whatever satisfies for that question. Don't give extra answers. Let him ask more questions on that. You know that for all questions you know the answers. Let him ask the question and you just throw out, right? So on the outline, it will be like Dharnesh answered more questions, like that, right? So,
Got it.
so
Yes.
you need to prepare troubleshooting issues. This is one of the examples I told you. So many things is there. This will come based on your practice only. Everything you are learning, you are struggling is troubleshooting. If you ask me when I started learning Spring, I gave you, for example, take Spring AOP. Did you attend the session AOP, Dharnesh?
Uh,
Did you attend the session
no,
Spring
I don't think.
AOP? Yeah, means the jar
No.
file whatever I gave to Nikhil. I told you Spring 5 is having so many other jar files also. You won't get those jar files in a single folder. When I first learned the Spring,
Okay.
I'm creating Spring AOP, whatever the AOP related packages from Spring, that only I loaded, but my program is not running. So many errors is coming in the console. So the console, it clearly says that AOP, Apache common AOP is missing. Your repository or any particular stuff, and after loading it, I resolved the issue, like that. These are all whatever I'm telling server.xml or this jar files missing is a kind of outline level. But even inside the coding level also, you can define one of the good based on my scenario. I struggled a lot, like Nikhil right now creating private long ID, right, instead of int ID. I developed so many stuffs, but I couldn't able to attach the table and lost maybe spending so many hours. I found that from the coding side it should be long, right? So that will come based on your experience only, and you need to remember those kind of troubleshooting experience to talk over that. Okay.
Okay, Vijay. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Troubleshooting relates to all you are struggling, right? Any troubleshooting things you can make a list whatever you have struggled. Not only you don't degrade yourself like I never worked in a company, then how I can tell these are the issues I face in troubleshooting. You are practicing, right? Whatever you are even macOS, you are struggling to do some installation, but when you achieve it, that is your troubleshooting experience, right? Do you agree, Nikhil and Dharnesh?
Yes,
Yes, yes.
but the question they are asking is what is your hardest troubleshooting you have faced, like challenging situation, I think.
Challenges, they are expecting you to talk over the project.
Correct.
If whatever the modules you are mentioning in that particular module, this has fired out, we couldn't able to resolve the issues, then we formed a team, right?
Yes.
Worked some 2 to 3 long continuous hours, and what are the activities you have involved. I enabled my logging mode into debug mode to verify all the flow of execution, then found that there is some um, misimplementation with respect to collection, then I replaced with this collection to that collection, like that. You need to tell with respect to the scenario. I can't tell directly what are all the steps you can explain in the interview, because if I am getting this question in my interview based on whatever I have worked, I will start. It is not like specifically we can talk. It is like a flow, this where and that, like, and all I have done, like that I can tell, right?
Got it. Yes.
Okay, guys, I'm just running out of my meeting time.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
let's meet tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank,
yeah.
yeah.
Whatever
Thank you,
questions,
Vijay.
make a list. Even this interview stuffs also. Whenever we have time, we can discuss. Okay,
Okay,
maybe
yeah.
tomorrow
Yeah.
we'll be having more time. This one we can complete quickly, and another half an hour you guys can talk over the question. Okay, let's meet tomorrow.
Thank you, Vijay. Yeah.